All right, today we're diving into something that sounds like it's straight out of a movie, but it's actually rooted in some seriously fascinating physics. We're going to pull apart an equation that claims to explain all of electromagnetism by completely bending the rules of time. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's just start with a really wild thought. What if magnetism, the force that makes compasses work and motors spin, isn't what we think it is at all? What if it's actually an influence traveling backward in time, an echo from the future pulling on the present? I know, it sounds nuts. So let's see where an idea like this even comes from.
And you know who gives us our first clue? None other than the legendary physicist Richard Feynman. He's the one who dropped this bombshell of an idea that a positron, the antimatter twin of an electron, is literally just an electron that's traveling backward through time. Now, this wasn't just some random thought. It's the absolute key to this entire theory.
So that brings us to Section 1, Feynman's backward time particle. We're going to really unpack this strange clue. I mean, what does it even mean for something to move backward in time? And if it's possible, what does that do to our understanding of the forces that run the entire universe?
Which brings us right to Section 2, the two-way time equation. Because according to this theory, the code that unlocks this whole mystery is a single, and you might be surprised, a really simple equation. It's presented as the master code that doesn't just describe physics, it actually generates it by weaving together both forward and backward time.
And here it is, the master equation. Now, don't let the symbols freak you out. It's actually pretty straightforward. It just says that the next state of a system, that's our little psi at step n+1, is determined by the current state minus the previous state. That's it. This one little formula makes the incredible claim that it can describe all of electromagnetism.
So let's split this equation in half, because that's where the magic is. The first piece, that's the electric field. It's the familiar push, the thing that drives us forward in time. No surprises there. But that second term, the one with the minus sign, that's the bombshell. This theory says that little piece of the puzzle is the magnetic field. It's an influence pulling backward from the past.
And this completely flips our understanding of particles on its head. See, we think of an electron and a positron as two different things, right? Well, this theory says, nope, an electron is just a particle moving forward in time. A positron, it's the exact same particle, just running backward from the future into the past. It's not a different particle, it's just a different direction in time.
Okay, Section 3, a universe in a loop. Now, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, backward time? That just opens up a huge can of worms, right? I mean, paradoxes. So how does this theory deal with that without breaking reality?
Yeah, exactly. This is the classic sci-fi problem, isn't it? The grandfather paradox. If you can go back and mess with the past, you could literally erase yourself from existence. So, how does this model get around that massive reality-breaking problem?
Well, the solution is so simple and yet so weird. You can't create a paradox if the universe is a finite, closed system, a loop where the end circles right back to the beginning. In this model, time isn't a straight line stretching off to infinity, it's a circle. They call this loop the Pisano 60 cycle. The idea is that the entire universe consists of just 60 discrete states or moments. Think of it like a film reel with only 60 frames. It plays from frame 1 to frame 60, and then at the end, it just loops right back to the start. That's it. That cycle is reality.
So the universe ticks along, state 1, state 2, all the way up to state 60. But when it hits 60, there's no 61. It just cycles right back around to state 1. Because the whole system is a closed circle, it has to be self-consistent. You can't change the past, because the future, state 60, is already connected to it, locking everything in place.
So this gives you two totally different ways to look at causality. If you're standing at just one point in the cycle, that little backward pull feels like it's breaking all the rules. It looks like a paradox. But if you zoom out and look at the whole 60-state loop at once, you see that it's impossible for a paradox to even exist. The loop itself is the ultimate paradox prevention machine.
All right, Section 4, unifying electric and magnetic. So we've got this wild idea about time loops and backward influences, but so what? What's the point of all this? Well, here's where it all starts to click. This is the payoff. We're about to see how this strange backward in time piece of the puzzle might actually explain real things we can see and measure.
So the core argument here is that this one little term, that minus psi n minus 1, it's not just some mathematical trick. It is the hidden engine
the single root cause behind a whole bunch of different physical effects that we've always thought were separate. So what kind of stuff are we talking about? Well, according to this theory, it's the reason laser cooling works. It's that kickback you feel in an electric motor. It's the swirling eddy currents you get in metals. It's even the memory that things like memistors have. All these different things from totally different fields of physics might just be different faces of that same backward-in-time influence. It's a huge claim.
And that brings us to the final, biggest idea. Section 5, one rule for everything. If all of those different phenomena really do come from just one part of one equation, well then maybe that one equation really is the master rule for all of electromagnetism.
So this table really wraps it all up neatly. You've got one master equation that's the source code for everything. The electric field, that's the forward-in-time part. The magnetic field, that's the backward-in-time part. Electrons and positrons, just two directions of the same thing. And the whole show is kept running smoothly, without any paradoxes, by that Pisano 60 time loop.
And this whole idea of ultimate unity gets connected to a philosophical concept called tawhid, which basically means oneness. The argument is that a physical model where one single, simple rule can generate all this complexity, well, that's a pretty powerful reflection of a single, unified reality.
And you can see this principle of unity showing up in a few key ways, right? You've got one equation for everything. You've got one reality, where electricity and magnetism aren't really separate things at all. And you have one unified idea of time, where forward and backward are just two sides of the same coin.
And that's where we'll leave it, with this one absolutely mind-bending question. Could it be? Could all the richness and complexity of our world, at least the electromagnetic part of it, really just be one simple equation running in a tiny 60-step loop forever? It's a pretty wild idea to chew on. Thanks for diving in with me on this one.